Today I want to tell you about two ways you can do well with average items on eBay. So let's talk about that on the other side. So without any further ado, let's go. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is John from Flippin' Ain't Easy. And two ways to do well on eBay with just average items. Now, first of all, we got to know, well, what do you consider an average item? Now, for me, it's like when you go to the bin store or maybe a yard sale and you're gleaning the better items from those places, and you see that maybe these items have multiple sold items or sold comps in the last 90 days. And for me, that's your average item. Now, what I'm not talking about is your stuff that you can sell just with a bad title, like you're talking like an Apple iPhone, Apple AirPods, high-end clothing items, really popular items that have high demand. And when you look at the comps for that particular item, you're seeing a lot of solds, and you might see, very few or very large numbers when it comes to competition. But for most items like that are above average, well above average, you don't really have to do a whole lot. Eventually, you're going to sell that item at market price. And if you do a really good job in the listing, you might even be able to get more than that, depending on the condition. Now, on the other side of the coin, you have the stuff that's below average, what I like to talk about as being crap, but some of you guys might not like that. But the truth is, if you're just selling random stuff, right, without any way to, you're not looking up comps, really no way in your mind to know if this is going to sell or not. You're just grabbing stuff that you think might be a hot seller on eBay, and then you find out later when you go to list it that, wow, this is even worth what I thought it was. Well, those kind of items you can't really do a whole lot about. Yeah, you may sell them eventually, but you really want to gravitate away from those kind of items. So things that don't have sold comps, or maybe just one sold comp in the last 90 days, are items that you really kind of want to just steer away from if you can. Now, the caveat is if it's a one-off item, no one else is selling it, maybe there has been a sold comp in the last 90 days, maybe you've used Terapeak, maybe there's one or two that have sold, but it's looks like it's such a rare item because there's nothing else like it on eBay, then maybe pick it up and give it a shot, depending on the price and what the return is projected to be. But even then, I would be maybe looking at putting that up as an auction, and that will determine if it's a sought after item or not by multiple people, or if it just doesn't sell at all. So that's kind of how I would handle those, crap one-off items. And I call them crap. It may not be crap, it just might be rare. But really, I'm just focusing on, and you should be focusing on, at least average items. Now, avoiding all the bad stuff, the stuff that doesn't have sold comps. What my thought process is that if you're looking at just average or above, okay, how do you succeed in just selling average? Now, let's just say for a second you can't get the above average stuff. So we're just focusing on average. Just focus on average. So there's two ways to move this average stuff, okay? One is to build a huge store, list as many items as you can in a day, right? Maybe have templates set up for each type of item that you're selling. Whether you're niche down, maybe you're selling just pants and different types of pants, maybe a template for each type of pant, or maybe you sell everything like me and you can maybe have a template for each type of item that you're used to selling, right? And then you can just grind out listings, not paying attention to item specifics, not paying attention to like the color, not paying attention to having anything but just a generic item description. Maybe you're only focusing on a couple pictures and a decent title for the listing, and you're just grinding away, right? Well, in my view of those type of stores, you're generally going to sell, we're talking about average items here, you're generally going to sell maybe one out of every 300 to 400 items that you have for sale, if that is the type of listing and if that's the type of item you're grinding out. So you actually have to, if your goal is to make 10 sales in a day on average, you're going to have to put out about 3,000 to 4,000 items for a sale to make that formula work, right? But if you're trying to get 100, you got to get like 10, 20, 30, 40,000 plus listings to get big numbers on this platform. Now, for me, I do a lot of looking at stores, trying to get an idea of what everyone else is doing, right? And getting an idea of how many items that person sells per how many items they have listed. Stores that pay attention to more than just the required item specifics when we're doing the recommended, really not so much the additional. I mean, you can put stuff in the additional, but recommended and filling that stuff out, and also including an item description that has some kind of an item description, tells the customer about the item itself, whether it's the condition and or the features of the item. Well, those stores tend to do a little bit better because and we're talking also stores that have more photos in their listings, maybe more of an optimized title. Those items and those stores in turn do generally better than stores, or a lot better than stores who just whip out product and just have some generic template that covers every form of a shirt, right? Every polo shirt, regardless of the color, is labeled as multicolor or something like that. So eBay wants you to fill out the item specifics as much as possible. So this isn't me just telling you this. This is actually from everything that I've watched and studied, that eBay wants you to fill out item specifics as much as you can for that particular item. And also fill out in an item description more than just what eBay puts in there, or just some generic item description, because your item description is your spillover area for your title, where you can add more keywords than your title allows you to, the 80 characters that eBay gives you. Okay, so for a good listing on an average item, you need to focus both on your item description and your item specifics, okay? And completing as much of that as you can. Now, the problem with that is you're not going to list as fast, and therefore not going to have as many items listed per day or per hour or whatever metric you use. So just to give you an idea, from those type of stores that do that, it's anywhere between 1 sale per day for every 100 listings to 1 to every 150 listings. That's what I've seen based on the research that I've done. So you're looking at, really, am I going to work twice as hard? And maybe the argument could be said that you're not really working twice as hard because you're not putting as much information in the listing. You're grinding out more listings, but you can put out twice as many listings, maybe 3 times as many listings, right? With no item specifics or no item description, really. Or you can focus on these things and add some good photos, more than 1 or 2, good zooms and things that we talk about on this channel. And you can actually have a smaller store that can outperform one of these other stores that puts out 10, 20, 30, 40, 50,000 listings with just grinding it out and not paying a lot of attention to these items. So the choice is up to you. Now, of course, the choice is up to you if you're willing to put out 30, 40, 50,000 items in your store. But if you're like me, you don't have a lot of room or a lot of storage area to store all this stuff. And I'm certainly not going to start putting, I may put racks in here at some point, but I'm not going to start putting storage bins to where I can't even function in my own little office space here. So that's my choice. I'm focusing more on the quality listing for the same type of item that Joe Blow might be listing. Just boom, just get it up and out. I'm looking to put a quality listing together, and my focus is on getting higher search rankings for these average items, because most average items you're competing against apples to apples, and there's many people that are selling those apples, and you have to be able to differentiate to the eBay algorithm why your apple is deserving to be ranked higher than this guy's apple who's just putting out listings randomly, okay? So I'm not knocking either way. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm just telling you, from my observation, there's 2 ways to pull off average items on eBay, okay? But at the end of the day, doesn't matter how many items you list, it's all about scoreboard. And the scoreboard isn't how many, like in baseball, The team that gets the most hits, the team that gets the most walks, the team that strikes out the other team more isn't the winner. It's the team that scores the most runs is the winner. And guess what, guys? You can put up as many listings as you want, but at the end of the day, it's all about how much you make each day for your store, okay? And I just don't want people to feel like, well, I can't list more than 5 or 10 today, so I'm not gonna succeed. Yeah, you can list 5 or 10, but make sure you're focusing on making those 5 to 10 the very best listings, the quality listings that they can be, and your performance is going to do as well as someone who's listing 20 or 30 and just blowing them out with any care for item description or item specifics. Now again, there's gonna be some of you saying, it's nonsense. I list 1,000 items, in a week, and I'm just killing it. It depends on what your definition of killing it is, but I promise you this, okay? And we're talking about average items here. If you're selling great stuff, this is not what we're talking about. We're talking about your average item that you find at the bin store, at a yard sale, that type of thing, okay? But I can promise you this much, okay? If you're killing it right now and you're not paying attention to item description or your item specifics for each listing, you're leaving a lot of money on the table because you have a lot of listings that could probably do even better. If you're selling 100 to 150 items a day with that big store of yours, you probably could be doing 2 to 3 times that if you just simply had paid attention to what eBay wants you to do, and that's supply your listings with really good stuff like item specifics, good photos, maybe some zooms in there, a good quality title, and of course don't forget your item description, which is a spillover area for your title where you can get more keywords in there for that search algorithm. So I want to know what you guys think. Put your comments down below. Of course, if you like the channel, if you like the video, please hit the like button. If you like the channel, of course, hit that subscribe button and we'll get you some more content. And then that notification bell, please hit that so you can be part of the next live or when I make my next video. Most of us have only access to average items, and we should be passing on the bad stuff, right? And if we're fortunate enough to be, finding good stuff, good high quality items, then you don't need this video. But for the rest of us, in my opinion, there's 2 ways to do it. You either load up a store and just pay no attention to your item specifics and item description, or you just take the time, like I do and a lot of other successful sellers do with smaller stores, to make sure your item gets high quality placement in search. But these are things that you have to figure out, and in figuring it out, it's just another example of how sometimes flipping ain't easy. I want you guys to have an excellent rest of your day, and we will talk to you very soon.